I am DM Zone. This is Gamers Oasis. Let's get into it. Okay, guys. So I want to talk to you guys real quickly about some things, and before we go any farther, I have something I need to do. So the bell has tolled. Um, Let me go ahead and get into the Band-Aid ripping off or whatever. So I have been pondering for the last probably 2.5, 3 months, ever since I was given or loaned 600 PED and an EP1 blueprint, and I was allowed to see about crafting session 5. I realized what I've been missing by not having anywhere near this PED, by not having the ability to do these things, by having like a 1.5 year long really project where I would have to save and save and save, and I had been saving and saving and saving, like 45,000 Burkite, and try and get the basic extractors, basic stone extractors. So I've been all these things, I was looking at, and then I got this, and I got doing these things, and I realized I'm not really playing a free-to-play model anymore. When I get gifts, which I appreciate, that are outside of what a player can expect, I don't know if that's really a fair representation of a free-to-play model. I just don't feel like it is. These gifts have been coming from all sorts of places, and most of them are not what a normal player playing Entropia Universe can expect. A player, like some of the gifts I got that a player playing Entropia Universe can expect by being social and by meeting with people and being friendly and that type of stuff, would be things like I sold 3K of sweat for 9 PED. That person then flew me to Arcadia, and then that person then sold me at cost a very broken down, used up Sleipnir, which I still fly. It was like 5 PED left on it, and that was all it is. I still fly it. 5 PED has lasted forever in that thing, because I don't fly like everywhere, because I'm free to play. So for a free to play player, 5 PED is nothing for them as far as flights. Another one was one of my society mates. You've seen him talk a lot on here about saying hi and whatnot, very still socially active with me and everything. He flew me literally from Arcadia to Calypso, ran me through the gauntlet, ran me through most of or all of the chain that was left of the Justa Buchan, so I could leave literally or go get the Justa Buchan. I actually wanted to go get tier 99 to show like this is what it costs, and then go back and do the Adjusted Buchan again. And I've never actually done the video talking about me upgrading the Adjusted Buchan. I'm kind of holding off on that still, but I've still got those clips. I still got the screenshots and all that. I just probably need to save that a little better. Anyways, that's my own notes. Anyways, he flew me back. Those are things that people can do. I got some notes here real quick. Some of the things that I missed, I'll go into that next, I think. I missed a lot of society hunts where, I didn't want to go because I probably would have been given PED, but then I'm freeloading and I'm not much of a freeloader in that way. So I missed hanging out with some of the guys and doing that. And I was busy trying to sweat and do those other things. So I talked in chat, but I wasn't physically there. And they'd be like sometimes 20 feet away hunting menorahs, and I'd be just sweating menorahs, doing my own thing. And it probably seemed a little standoffish. And I hate that fact, but I just couldn't afford to shoot the menorahs. I had to drown them. So, and that's because that was the way I played. That was my free-to-play model. And I'm not saying that what they were doing was the right way or what I was doing was the wrong way or vice versa, but that was not what I could do. Yeah, there's a lot of trends in the market. So like, for example, I've noticed that there's an up and down to certain deeds. I've noticed that there's an up and down to certain items. I can't jump on the bandwagon of buying when they're low and selling when they're high, because that requires hundreds and hundreds of PED or thousands and thousands of PED to make back 5%, maybe 10. You take 100 PED, you make back 5%. That's 5 to 10%. That's 5 to 10 PED. It might take you 4 months to make that money back, because that's how long you have to wait for the market to flip. But that's pretty good. That's better than deeds, for sure. You spend 100 PED on deeds, and you're definitely going to make less than 5 to 10 PED in 4 months. So it is a much faster. Deeds are safer, but the other way is faster, for sure. And, you can make a bad guess and be out some and just have this item you try and make back even or whatever. It requires a lot of work, where deeds require no work. You just let them go. There was a lot of topics that came up that were very specific. A release note comes out, something changes in game, videos could be made on it. I couldn't do the video. That's not to say a new player or a free-to-play player problem. That's more my problem. But there's a lot of events. The Gold Rush, I've never done any of the Gold Rushes. I've done one Easter Mayhem, and one could argue that is not a way for a free-to-play player to be able to get into it. Yeah. I'm forced to do lower PED hunts. This is going to be kind of funny. I'm going to do a few screenshots of some of my early hunts, like 5 PED Gallard hunts and 10 PED Gallard hunts and 10 PED Menorah hunts and 15 PED Menorah hunts, and taking 10 of those 15 PED Menorah hunts to turn into 150 PED hunt. I think I maybe did 150 PED worth of hunting my first year of playing, and probably about 200, maybe 300 in my second year of playing. I'm not scheduled to do 450 PED in my third year unless I were to do something drastically different. It just wouldn't happen. I am on that increase, but I'd be lucky to do 300. That's probably about what I'd be looking at per year. So there's a lot of issue with that. It takes a long time to get that. Some of the funny comments I have are like, 5 PED hunt, that's like one shot from my rifle, stuff like that, like very different. So both not realistic for a player because, you do your little hunt, and you're good with that, and that type of stuff, and not realistic from my perspective either, where it is, how can I grow a channel? How can I do my YouTube stuff? How can I get what I believe to be really solid, good content out to people if I'm only doing 5 PED hunts and 10 PED hunts, and I'm missing the releases, and I'm missing the events and all these things that people do to grow their channels and to become more involved in what's going on? How can I be a part of the community if I can't do community hunts? You can see right now, I'm in the middle of some swamp water or whatever, fighting some creatures and this type of stuff. Some of you may not even know what this is. I didn't know what this was until I was told, hey, fly here. I'm giving you PED. I want you to do this. And I flew there and did this. The same person that did this is the same person that sponsored me to go do the Easter Mayhem. So let me go ahead and talk about some of those things, speaking of Easter Mayhem, that free-to-play players cannot expect. You can't expect things like this to happen unless you have a social media presence or a YouTube channel. Unless people get to see you in a different way, you'd be extremely lucky to have any of these things happen. But let me go into this real quick. All right, so Easter Mayhem 2022. I literally had a gentleman give me 5 AOU Arcadia Underground deeds to then use however I want. Once I sold them and made back a little over 500 PED, he then gave me, he also gave me a quad. He gave me almost a full suit of Atlas There was one piece missing, the feet, and then there was no gloves, but he had a replacement for the Atlas gloves. He gave me Mentor gloves, and he didn't have leggings, so he ended up giving me some awesome Ghost Armor leggings. I remember that because it's that meaningful, special, and unique. Like that is a unique thing to have. Pretty spectacular. So I have that. Then he gave me a bunch of armor plates, this type of stuff. He gave me, like I said, a quad. It was a used quad, but still quad. He gave me some rings, this type of stuff. He gave me a whole bunch of B101, I want to say alpha or beta amplifiers. Excuse me. For laser rifles. They give 1 point of damage. I've actually had one drop. It was kind of funny. But I've actually had one drop, so I kind of know some of the mobs that I might drop off of. And then told me to go do, my Easter Mayhem. This funded most of my way through the Corona's hunting tasks, which eventually took me to the Enigmas and took me into the Matrix and getting my jumpsuit, my green jumpsuit. I had another person give me 3 Arcadia Underground deeds and told me do with them whatever you feel like is the best. I have used them. I earned some pet off of them, and then I sold them when they were at high, so that I could then do some hunting right around January this year, I guess. I got loaned 600 PED, as I said earlier, in an explosive 1 projectile, explosive projectile 1 blueprint, 100% QR. So I could go do my first 30 days of crafting. And, those are things, no one loans you 600 PED without collateral. No one loans you an EP1 without collateral. Those are very valuable things. That EP1 by itself is 150 to 200 PED, depending on how unlucky or lucky you are. I mean, so you're looking at 750 to 800 PED. Just, here, hold this. I trust I'll get it back from you. That's mind-blowing. Mind-blowing. You don't see that. My family wants to bless me, I guess you could say. They want to help me in my journey because they see I'm struggling and they hear my private opinions and thoughts and whatever and struggles when it's tough, that type of stuff. Because if you're a free-to-play player, when it gets tough and you're like, ugh, so tough. I just want 20 more PED, or I want 50 PEC because I can't get this thing I want because I don't have 50 PEC and I have nothing else I can sell to get to it. I've had those. I've run out of fuel in the middle of space because I didn't have fuel and had to have a society mate or a friend come pick me up or give me some fuel so I can make it and then repay them. Embarrassing. Unfortunately, it's happened. And I wish it had only happened once, but it hasn't. It's happened twice. I have learned a tremendous amount from being a free-to-play player. And I've had a taste of what it's like to not be a free-to-play player. And I don't know if I'm doing justice to free-to-play players by stating I am free-to-play when I'm being given all these gifts. It's something that's been eating at me for a while, like over a year, but especially in the last couple months, especially when I got this last little bit, because it was like boom, 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 boom. And like I said, my family wanted to bless me with some PED so I could go do some hunts I've been wanting to do. So how do I get blessed by my family to go do this, like a Christmas gift, and still claim to be free to play? They're going to make a character, then try and get through the prologue and then give me the money, or what? So it's something that we've been debating. And I have decided that I'm going to move to a low deposit manner of play. I feel like that better represents what I'm doing. And I feel like I can still do, as I spoke to one of my viewers actually earlier this month, and I was going through this struggle with him, and he said you could just do like a 30-day challenge where you go to a planet. Basically, you have nothing. You take your beacon and your spacecraft. You have enough to get on and off, that type of stuff, so you don't strand yourself. And then go do 30 days there and see what you have when you get done, type of thing. And I thought, you know what, that is not actually bad. I like that. That's kind of a cool. That would be a good way to represent a free-to-play model, and would still allow me to do and have the guilt-free of saying that. So I think that's what I'm going to do. Is at least once a month I want to go to some place, or once a year for a month. I want to go somewhere and do like a survival island type of thing, and be non-depositing, just to keep my non-depositing roots there. And I might rotate which planet it is to kind of see what it's like to be a non-depositing player on this planet or that planet or this moon, or maybe just in space. Maybe I don't land. Maybe I stock up like 100 ped worth of fuel and I just fly in space and see how long I last before. I don't know if I'm going to sweat or how I'm going to do anything. They better add landing platforms in space because I'm going to be completely broke. I don't know. Maybe something will come up in the future. I've talked about a lot of these ideas being really cool if they did stuff like that. Maybe they'll actually do some of this stuff. Speaking of which, Donald Wilson, who's a huge advocate of the things I do and has spoken positively about me on several occasions, which I appreciate, and I watch his content all the time, has had many great ideas about what they could do with pirates and space and that type of stuff. It's kind of funny. I have both polars. I just watched a thing by Serial Overdrive, and Serial Overdrive was talking about how space ruined planet travel and that type of stuff, and trade or whatever. And I think that's he needs to play a little bit more before saying that, because I think it's a little different than when he was really actively playing. He's been playing other games here lately, but still love Serial Overdrive. He is the reason why I got into Entropy Universe. I watched one of his commercials and that type of stuff, and I watched a lot of his gameplay. But I don't necessarily agree with him on this particular matter. Anyway, so that's kind of what I'm looking forward to do. So let me talk real quickly about these mobs and what I'm doing here. Segue. I got two segues. One will be coming up here in a minute, and I'm going to be talking about Sass and my two new buddies, Sass and Olive. Okay, and we'll get into that in a second. But first, let's go ahead and talk about the mobs I'm hunting right here. So this mob here is eventually going to be, it's the Sand King. This is the big Scorpion King looking dude. He is a huge scorpion that has potential of tremendous drops. Some huge globals and hoffs have come off him. I was given 100 ped to join this fight. Because basically I kept dying. I didn't actually get all the way through my 100 ped. I had about 20 ped, 30 ped left. But I did really put my hurting on him, I guess you could say. It was more of an experience, I think, is what this guy was saying I should be doing. Anyways, yeah. So this is something I would never be able to experience as a free-to-play player that didn't have any sort of social media type of thing. This type of hunt right here where crazy things could happen. You know, I don't know. Anyways, enough on that heartbeat or whatever. This is a video that I had shot. Nothing, unfortunately, really comes big of it. I got like a small global. My percentage of damage was far less than everyone else. So it wasn't like a big, oh my God type of moment, right? But some other people got some decent stuff. But no one got anything crazy. It was just decent. and it was so it just never really was a video that never really came out. It was kind of like a womp 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 type of video. You know, it was just a video that has kind of sat there. I mean, this video is fairly old. It was shot after, or mid 2022. So, I just really never really put it out there because why? I mean, you get what I'm saying. Like it was a nothing burger, as I would like to say. But I hope in the future to do this hunt again, to be better prepared, and maybe something like this will actually be cool. And there's a lot of these creatures, these world boss creatures, that I feel like would be super fun to do, and there's like no information on them. There's not a lot, and that might be something that would be fun to go into as well. Speaking on creatures there's not a lot of information about, let's go ahead and talk about creatures on Toulon. Toulon is a planet that there's not been a significant amount of research done into it yet. I was watching a Don Wilson video where he had made a melee weapon, and because he was able to take a melee weapon to a moderate level, he actually, and tiers, a limited weapon, he actually started to hit first time ever global type things. These little like, and just mind blowing. No one had leveled this particular melee weapon past like level 6 ever in the entire time that they'd done it. So that guy, I'm super excited. And it's crazy that he was the first on so many of these things. And that is not unique. There's a lot of things in there. You go and look at, we'll just take Moncats right now, or Mocats. Mocats are the jellies. They are the gelatinous humanoid Sasquatches, or as I call them, sasses. So sasses are a thing I'm hunting a lot of. And my goal, just to be basically upfront with it, is I want to get to codex level 26. I want to compare that codex versus another codex. And the other codex I want to do is a Dahar. Dahar is basically the dog from Ghostbusters. And that's who I'm calling Olive, because they're mostly an olive green or an olive gray type of thing. And I'm calling that Olive. So I got Olives and I got Sasses. And I have been hunting Sasses now for a while. With the gift, the blessing from my family, I was able to do several 150 ped hunts. Not because the amount of the gift was so great, but because I have found I'm getting really good returns on these Mocats. And I have found a wonderful combination of missions that I'm doing currently. And I won't go into them right now. I'll just go into it enough to say that I'm glad I did this. I'm going to have a lot coming out of this. And the skills I'm gaining from these missions are something I almost want to repeat like I do my Season of Crafting. If I could do this same mission at level 4, the Mocat mission 4, 30 times, that means I do Mocat 2 and 3, which for those you don't know, if you do Mocat 2, 3, and 4, that is 80 peck towards evade. 80 peck versus evade, do it 10 times, you just made 8 ped. You do it 30 times, that's 24 ped. 24 ped into evade would be a lot of evade. So, my evade skill is going up significantly based upon this. Much faster than it was prior. And I'm seeing great gains. And this is a huge thing. I'm going to be talking more about this in my other videos, so I don't want to step on this too much. But, Dahar have also very good things with missions they do and this type of stuff. And when you go right outside Guardian Village, there is a mass of Dahir and of the Mokots. And when I go into my videos, I'll talk more about what each specific drops and what they do and this type of stuff, and how there are some benefits that are maybe less known from doing these. But I think there's a reason why you see the same people every day out there doing these. And that's because this is like a hidden gem. And I'm planning to get both the Dahir and the Mokots all the way up to level 26, and then go out there and see how long it takes for me to get 26, to repeat the 26 and to repeat the 26, and check out the PED as it comes in. I can tell you right now, with the drops I've seen, I don't know if 100% of my hunts are going to be that. I will tell you, hunting Mokots juveniles is absolutely mind-numbing. It is very, very boring. It is worse than sweating. At least with sweating, I can walk away. The problem with Mokot juveniles is they don't have a lot of hit points. I burn through them really quickly, and I have to keep pushing buttons. And oh my god, they are endless. Endless. 150 PED of Mokots is endless. I have a mission idea on that too, involving a different mission that does this, and I might just do that every day. And that could be interesting because it would be a slower way, but a more controlled way to get to Mokot 4 and get that complete, while still getting my feet wet every day doing this other mission, and kind of having like a Milo on Arcadia Moon type of experience. This is something that's been weighing on me for a little bit, and it's hard for me to continue to justify me talking about a free-to-play. It's why I haven't done free-to-play videos like talking about what I do, because frankly, I can show what I do. It's extremely boring, you know. Serial Overdrive talks about the fact he couldn't be free-to-play now because he does this little thing. I won't go into it, but basically, he has other things he could do versus sweating for 10 hours in a day just to make, 5K, 3K, 3 to 5K sweat, which he then turns around and sells for 1.5 to 2 PED per sweat, depending on where you're at, what planet you're on. Really, 1.2 to 2 PED, depending on what planet you're on. So there's that. Take that for what it's worth. Yeah. Hope you guys enjoy it. See you guys in the next video. Plenty more Entropy Universe coming on. So, sort of an odd ending, but, a lot of weight. Anyways, keep her in that bed.